Ten Best Picks presents the top 10 best mirrorless camera for beginners. Starting at number 10. Panasonic LUMIX G7. I like to think of the Panasonic G7 as the budget version of the GH4 or GH5. This is a camera that was made for video recording, like the other latest releases from Panasonic. It has everything you'd want in a vlogging camera, and it can even record 4K. The only exception is the lack of image stabilization, but as an interchangeable lens camera, you can get a lens with OIS. The included kit lens has it installed. It is lighter than the A6100 without a lens, even though it's slightly bigger. It also features a hot shoe mount that lets you use a shotgun microphone on it. The autofocus feels a bit slow, but it does not do an excessive amount of hunting. It can't be compared to the A6500's autofocus, but we are talking about a camera that almost doubles its price. Taking into account its price tag, this one is amazing for video blog recording. You can't have a good interchangeable lens camera that can record 4K 25p for cheaper than this. For more information and price, check out the product links in description underneath the video. At number 9. Sony Alpha A6400. Sony A6400 mirrorless for vlogging. If I had to mention the main thing that this camera does better than its competitors here is its continuous autofocus. It honestly has no other like it. If you want a reliable autofocus, this camera is the go-to for vloggers. It is an APS-C sensor camera, so you will also get good low-light performance, although not as close as its full-frame cousin, the A7III. I should also mention that it is a lot cheaper than the cameras you've seen up until this point. And still, it can record crisp 4K video, although only up to 30 FPS. It can also record 1080p up to 120 FPS for slow motion. The last thing you will love is that it is a lot lighter and smaller than the others. This is especially good if you have weak arms. It's hard to carry a camera while recording vlogs for an entire day. The size of this Sony makes it a lot easier. Still, it does have some downsides. It doesn't have in-body image stabilization. Ouch. It would have been perfect if it did. It isn't a big deal, the problem is that you need to get a lens with optical stabilization if you want to record while walking around. Number 8 of my list. Panasonic LUMIX G9. Panasonic G9 mirrorless for vlogging. The Panasonic GH5 was considered the Panasonic king for video. That was until November 2019, when Panasonic released a firmware update for its G9, and it made its focus incredibly reliable for video too. Now we have two cameras that are basically just as good for video, but what's better is that the Panasonic G9 is also amazing for photography. If you don't want a camera to use exclusively for video, and you feel a little artistic and want to also take amazing photographies, then the Panasonic G9 is a great choice. It has also a burst mode for photography up to 60 FPS, which makes it really useful for action and wild photography. The autofocus tracking is also reliable. And in fact, it's even good for sports and wild photography. It's also reliable for YouTube videos when you use the face detection mode. The only downside is that it is a micro four thirds, so it's not as good as an APS-C camera for low light, and the bokeh effect is a little harder to achieve. Coming at number 7. Sony A7III. The Sony A7III is everything a mirrorless should be, and that's why we call it the king of mirrorless. But this doesn't mean that it's perfect, especially for YouTube vlogging. The main thing that vloggers will hate about it is that it doesn't come with a flip screen. However, the rest of the features makes it an almost perfect camera. This makes it possible to achieve a really strong and beautiful bokeh effect, the blurry background that everyone loves. And not only that, it also makes it the best option for low-light recording. It can record 4K video up to 30 FPS, but the image quality achievable and the 5-axis image stabilization allows you to create smooth, high-quality footage. At number 6. Canon EOS M50. Canon EOS M50 mirrorless for vlogging. The Canon EOS M50 retails for around the same base price as the EOS M6, but with new and improved features. It is the first of the M series line of Canon mirrorless cameras to have a fully articulating LCD touchscreen and the first one to use the company's new Digicate processor. This upgrade allows the M50 to have a better and faster autofocusing system, which covers a significantly wider area than the M6. For reference, the latter has only 99 AF points, while the M50 has 143 AF points. This camera truly has it all for vlogging. Flip-out screen, external mic port, APS-C sensor which is the same size DSLRs use, and it's really light and easy to carry around. Of course, there's also the fact that the Canon EOS M50 is the first M-series camera to have the capability to shoot 4K at 2425p, which is already a great deal considering its relatively affordable price point. Just be warned that 4K shooting with the M50 entails an added crop factor, further decreasing its field of view. For more information and price, check out the product links and description underneath the video. Halfway of my listed number 5. Panasonic LUMIX GH5. All the cameras on this list shoot video, and most even shoot 4K, and the XT4 could have easily found itself in this spot were it not already at the top of the list. Unlike most cameras, however, video is not a secondary focus in the LUMIX GH5. Where many DSLRs and mirrorless cameras have short recording limits, the GH5 will happily continue shooting until the card fills up or the battery dies. It also was the first camera to boast smooth as butter 60 fps 4K, although the Fujifilm X-T4 now matches that. Beyond 4K, it offers a number of video features targeting professional users, including 10-bit 422 recording, clean HDMI output, and an optional log gamma profile via a paid firmware upgrade. While video is a big selling point for the GH5, the camera can hold its own among other micro Four Thirds shooters for still photos. The 5-axis image stabilization plays a role for both videos and photos. The depth from defocus autofocus is very fast, and it shoots up to 9 fps with continuous autofocus or 12 fps with focus locked on the first frame. Coming in at number 4 of my list, Sony Alpha A6100. Sony's full-frame mirrorless cameras are excellent, but expensive. The Sony A6100 brings some of the best features from the A7 series into a camera that's less than $900. It still uses the same Sony E-mount as the A7 II, so you can use all of the same lenses if you want to be able to upgrade to a full-frame model down the road. The A6100 sports a 24-megapixel APS-C sensor that's smaller than full-frame, helping the camera keep its low profile. While that does mean low light performance won't match the full-frame Sony's, it still delivers excellent results for most situations. You also get Sony's incredible 425-point hybrid autofocus system. Like the latest A7 models, the A6100 includes Sony's artificial intelligence-based real-time tracking and real-time eye autofocus technologies for recognizing and following subjects. It's especially useful when shooting photos at 11 fps, the A6100's maximum burst speed. From keeping up with your pets to capturing all the action of your kid's little league game, the A6100 has it covered. At number 3. Fujifilm X-T30. Full-frame cameras may be all the rage these days, but Fujifilm continues to prove there's plenty of value in the smaller APS-C format. The Fujifilm X-T30 isn't the cheapest camera you can buy, but it may just be the most valuable. It takes the best features from the impressive X-T3 and whittles away a few of the less essential options to make an affordable, but still very capable, camera. What you get is a camera with a less robust body and a few high-end features, but one that produces image quality that's just as impressive as the camera that costs almost twice as much. The X-T30 uses a 26-megapixel X-Trans sensor that's capable of capturing some excellent images as well as 10-bit 4K video. A 425-point phase detection autofocus system is fast, accurate, and fills the entire frame. The X-T30 can't keep up with the X-T3's burst rate and larger image buffer, but its 8 frames per second are still plenty for most photographers. The camera can also handle 4K video quite well, offering both Fujifilm's F-Log profile and 10-bit 422 output, making it suitable for even some professional video applications. Coming at number 2. Sony A7RIV. Remember when 45 megapixels was a big deal? The Sony A7RIV packs in 61, offering more resolution than an 8K TV. That's enough to make very detailed 30-inch prints or crop a photo significantly and still get a sharp result. But while many high-resolution cameras will slow you down, the A7RIV can fire away at 10 frames per second. That won't win a race with the sports-oriented A9, but it's plenty of speed for most users. If somehow 61 megapixels isn't enough, a pixel shift mode can be used to create a 240 megapixel image, although you'll to stitch it together later using Sony's proprietary software. Equally impressive are the 15 stops of dynamic range that will help keep more details intact in high-contrast scenes. The Sony A7RIV also packs in the same old features that have kept the A7 series on best camera lists for years. 5-axis stabilization is built into the body. The autofocus system is the best in the business thanks real-time tracking and real-time IF, and it can shoot decent, albeit not class-leading, 4K video. And number 1. Fujifilm X-T4. It doesn't have the biggest sensor, nor the most megapixels, but when it comes to the photographic experience, no other camera delivers quite like the Fujifilm X-T4. Its classic design with analog-inspired control dials is married to modern features like 5-axis sensor shift stabilization and a fully articulating monitor. It covers the gamut from street photography to video production and everything in between, and it does all of these things to a very high degree of competence. Fujifilm X series cameras are known for providing a great experience, but previous models always had the same annoying quirks. The X-T4 is the first in the series to address virtually every complaint we've made about past X-T cameras, even solving one problem that was previously thought to be impossible. Battery life has nearly doubled, the fully articulating screen is great for video, and autofocus performance is encroaching on Sony territory. The X-T4 also took what the X-T3 did well and made it even better. The newly designed shutter is whisper quiet and can fire away at 15 frames per second, which is more speed than any Fujifilm fan was even asking for. For more information and price, check out the product links in description underneath the video. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel, share this video and hit the like button.